Good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
Ma'am, please go ahead. You are on the line, ma'am.
Due to some technical error, I won't be able to put on the video. It's not possible, but I am here. I hope I'm audible.
So you are audible.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Women and Young Members Excellence Committee of ICAI, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Yashaswini and Idol Series 75. Yashaswini and Idol is a Wednesday series of programs conducted by WYMEC for the women CAs and by the women CAs. This series is an extension of Sky High Symposium, which concluded its 100th episodes. It is one of the committee's initiatives to not only disseminate information to women members on technical updation and non-technical skills, but also to empower and inspire women members to come at forefront and realize their verbal skills at public forum. So, a brief profile of CA Dipali Mehta, our speaker. So, Dipali Mehta is a chartered accountant and founder partner of a leading CA firm. She specializes in indirect taxation GST with expertise in advisory, compliance, and training. She has been recognized with multiple awards for leadership and writing by GST PAM and is a regular speaker at WIRC study circles and professional forums. We all welcome CA Dipali Mehta. Hello.
Dipali, ma'am.
Yes, Vinny. So thank you so much, Bini, for your kind words. Good afternoon, everybody. So I have been given the pleasant task of giving you the updates on GST 2.0. Why am I saying it's a pleasant task? Because as said by our Honorable Prime Minister that it is our Diwali gift. So any gift given to us and to give the updates on the gift is always a pleasant task. So I'm sharing my screen. So basically, it's a bonanza technically from the government to the common public. And I heartily thank the WYMEC of ICAI for giving me an opportunity to present this bonanza to you people. So the first thing is what is Nirmala ji saying? Nirmala ji is saying that GST 2.0 is going to add 2 lakh crore to the economy. So as a citizen, obviously you are amazed how is this going to be possible. But then as Amitabh says, chaliye is khel ko aage badhaye jaye. So what you need to know actually what has come in this 2.0. Now this was implemented post the 56 GST Council meeting. Okay, and this 2.0 streamlines the tax slabs, it reduces the compliance burden and improves ease of doing business. This is what has been proclaimed by the government. And the major features of this 2.0 now is that earlier we had 4 to 5 slabs of the GST rates. That is 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, 3%. Now we have majorly into 5% and 18%. The 12% slab has been abolished. And also the 28% slab has been abolished. Rest all are available, like 5%, 18%, 3%. And one more slab they have introduced, which is for luxury or seen goods, and which is at the rate of 40%. And there is complete digitalization of the compliance. So now going forward, when you will file the GST returns, there is lot of automation, lot of digitalization. You will not be able to change many things in while filing the GST returns. Now, as far as the GST rate is structure, all the essentials are in 5% or nil in the new rate. So there has been a drastic reduction in the MRP of so many products because the GST rate fell down from 12% to 5%, and some of them from 12% to nil. Then the standard 18% rate is as it is, and for many products it has arisen from 12% to 18%. And all the luxury scene items, earlier they were 28% plus cess. So the cess has been abolished now. So to maintain the rate, they have charged now, they have been shifted to the 40% slab. So now we see what are the sector-wise changes and implications. Now, majority the gym and fitness centers were falling into the 18% rate. Now, looking into and for the well-being of the citizens, all the GST reforms for the gym and fitness centers has been shifted to 5%. Then there is this paper and packing industry, which is a very important industry, which marks for any product, it marks a essential thing which goes with each and every product. So packing is with each and every product. So this packing rate was earlier 12%. It has now been reduced to 5%. There are child cares, that is napkins, diapers, and everything has been shifted to 5%. Now you will ask me a question that diapers and should have been shifted to nil rated. The basic thing why it is this all things have not been shifted to nil rated is that at least when they are paying tax at either at the rate of 5%, they are eligible for the input tax credit. Now if you start charging exemption or you start giving exemption, then you are not eligible for the input tax credit. And again, that input tax credit gets added to the cost. So this is the reasoning they have given in the council meeting, that why all these rates has been given a particular rate, that is 5% rate instead of exemption. Then there are pencil, sharpeners, crayons, graph books, map books. Everybody has been shifted to nil rated. Then there was GST reduction in the footwear industry also. Now earlier the footwear industry, they earlier Earlier, the leather and footwear industry were falling into the 12% rate. Now they have been shifted to the 5% rate. And every footwear, earlier the maximum cap for falling into the next slab was 1,000. So now they have increased it to 2,500. But earlier what it was at 1,000 was 5%, and above 1,000 it was 12%. So now it will be up to 2,500 5%, and above 2,500 it is going to be 18%. So the 12% is completely not there now. Now the drones, the unmanned vehicles, they all have been shifted to 5% from 18% and 28%. Looking into how much importance drones are having nowadays, in each and every function you might be seeing that people are using drones. Also there are a lot of startups in making these drones. So to facilitate all this and to give a benefit to them, all the rates have been shifted to 5% for unmanned vehicles and drones. Then for two-wheelers up to 350cc, it has been reduced to 18%. So earlier all the two-wheelers were in 28% rate. Above 350cc, they were having cess, but below 350cc, it was 28%. It has now been shifted to 18%, a 10% decrease. Or the similar is the case with small cars, where it has been shifted from 28% to 18%. Now, in the cars, they have kept a minimum length ratio that it should not be more than 4,000 mm, and the engine capacity, if it's a petrol car, it should be 1000 cc, and if it's a diesel, sorry, it's a petrol, it's a 1200 cc, and if it's a diesel car, it's a 1500 cc car. So that is supposed to be falling into the category of small cars, which is now from 28%, it has shifted to 18%, and the rest of the cars which are already having earlier 28% plus cess have been shifted to 40%. Similarly, two wheelers more than 350cc has been shifted to 40%. Then there are marble or granite blocks, basically construction industries. As we all are aware that in construction industry, the builders and developers are not getting the credit. So there are the cost increases to a great extent, and ultimately the same cost is passed on to the consumers who are going to buy the flats. To give the benefit of rate reduction in and increasing the buying power of the consumers, they have reduced the materials used in the construction industry either to 5%, that is marbles and granite blocks have been shifted from 12% to 5%, and the cement has been shifted from 28% to 18%, leading to a drastically reduction of the cost, and this will have the impact on the final product. Then the agricultural sector, the fertilizers and everything was at 12%. Everything has been now moved on to the 5%. The raw materials, there is sulfuric acid, nitric acid, that also has been shifted to 5%. Machinery, the machinery used in the agriculture, tractors, the tires of the tractors, everything has been shifted to 5%. Why? Because agricultural sector, the output supply is exempted. So they do not get the ITC. Now, when earlier it was 18% and 12%, the cost for a farmer, the cost was a huge, having a huge impact on the price of the final product, and thus to benefit them, this rates has been now reduced to 5%. Now, purposely they have not given nil rated to fertilizers, only because for making the fertilizers, whatever raw material products that has been are being used are falling into the category of 18% and 5%. So to minimize the cost benefit ratio, they have not exempted the goods. The final product, I mean to say the grains, food grains, they are exempted, of course, but the fertilizers and air have been moved on to the 5% bracket. The textile sector also, which is one of the essential, just as we say roti, kapda, makan. So makan ho gaya, kapda ho gaya. So now, makan ho gaya, roti ho gaya. So now kapda. So in the textile sector also, they have reduced from 18% to 5% in man-made fiber and in man-made. Yeah. And also they have been given the benefit of the inverted rate duty structure reform. In this inverted rate duty structure is a refund that is given to those taxpayers where the outward supply rate is less than the inputs which are used in manufacturing the outward supply. So if my outward supply is 5%, the inputs which are used in manufacturing that 5% is at either 18% or 28%, and because of which your ITC is more and you can claim the refund. So the textile sector was having a lot of problem in getting the refund under the inverted rate duty. So that has been simplified, and moreover, they have also been given the benefit of 90% issuance of refund within 7 days. Earlier, this benefit was available only to the exporters. So now it is available to this inverted rate duty structure refund seekers also. Just I have already told about agriculture. Now the food process, the food industry is a huge industry. Till now, Majority of the products were at 12%. The namkeens, the chocolates, ice cream, fruit juices, sauces, soups, so many things were at 12% or 18%. The UHT and condensed milk was at 18%. Everything has now been reduced to 5%. The breads, chapati, khakra, they have been shifted to nil rated tax. Diabetic food has been reduced to 5%. Malt and starches have been reduced from 18% to 5%. The essentials are nil rated, packaged foods 5%. So now these businesses will are going to have a huge cost reduction, and because of which the final consumer is going to be benefit with a reduced MRP. So, what are the sin goods? What are the sin products? Are those products which are harmful to the individual. So, whenever you use any sin products, they are harmful. For example, pan masala, gutka, cigarettes, chewing tobacco. So, all this has been shifted from 28% plus cess to 40% slab. Whereas BDs have been reduced from 28% to 18%. Now, why this relief to the BDs? Because generally the people who uh, consume BDs are from other villagers or the from the interiors of the India. So to give them the benefit, this has been reduced from 28%. It has been reduced to 18%. Then there are toothpaste, shampoo, shops, soaps, shaving creams, everything was at 80%. This has now come down to 5%. And rubber bands, pencil sharpeners, candles, erasers, they have been shifted to nil rated category. Now, healthcare and pharma. Now, pharma industry, majority of the drugs, they were 12%. So, all this has been shifted to 5%. And some of the drugs, they have exempted. But most of the medicines now has been shifted to 5%. Even the glucometers and test strips, they have been shifted to the 5% rates. There are electronics and consumable durables. There is TV, AC, washing machine, dishwasher. Everything was in the 28% category. It has been shifted to 18% category. And telecom devices like walkie-talkies, they have been shifted to 5%. Lithium ion batteries, they have been cut down to 18%. Then comes aviation and shipping, where you are having a personal yacht or luxury boats. They have been increased to 40%. And unmanned aircrafts, which I have already mentioned, they have been reduced to 5%. What about the renewable energy devices? Everything has been reduced to 5%. Even the solar water heaters, machines, sprinklers, everything has been reduced to 5%. If the biodiesel has been raised to 18%. Then there is coal, lignite, peat that has been reduced to 18%. Now, there were certain clarifications which they have issued for services. The first clarification which they issued was that any restaurant which is a standalone restaurant, it cannot call itself a specified premises and it cannot take the benefit of 18% rate with ITC. They compulsorily have to levy the rate of 5% without any ITC. Also, the lottery services, the valuation rules are now aligned with the revised GST rate structure. Then there is handcrafts and cottage industry where the 12% rate has been cut down to 5%. So now hand embroidered shawls and everything we are going to get at a reduced MRP. There are some trade facilitation measures which have been given as a benefit in this 56 GST Council or GST 2.0. One I have already discussed, that is the 90% refund, which is available in the inverted rate duty structure. So, why this benefit is given? So that the working capital of that taxpayer is eased out fast. See, whenever you are purchasing something with a higher rate of GST, to that extent, your working capital gets invested in that purchase. And when you are selling it at lower GST, the accumulated balance lies in the electronic credit ledger. So that electronic credit ledger is as good as the amount of your INR rupees which you have paid to your suppliers, which gets stuck because you are not able to utilize that. So then this refund system is introduced for this inverted rate duty. And in this refund structure, the when you apply for the refund of the inverted rate duty structure, you get 90% of the refund within 7 days. That is what assurance they have provided to the citizens or the taxpayer. GST Appellate Tribunal, finally, it is going to be operational by this September 25. Hearings will start from December 25, and backlog appeals deadlines is given as 30th June 26. They have given a phase-wise manner of filing appeals. They have said that the orders dating from this particular date to this particular date will be filed by Jan, then by April, then by June. So by June 26, 30th June 2026, all the appeals which are lying unfiled for hearing in the tribunal has to be filed online. Now, principal bench of GSTAT will also act as National Appellate Authority for advance ruling. So, GSTAT will be doing two things. They will be hearing the advance rulings as well as they will be hearing acting as an GST Appellate Tribunal. Now, there are a lot of controversies for post sale discounts, especially in the FMCG sector. So, they have issued a very important circular, which is circular number 251 by 8 by 25, wherein they are clarifying the treatment that is given to secondary discounts and post sale discounts. In that, the first issue is relating to ITC on discounted payments. Okay, when you are issuing a financial or commercial credit notes, many times what happens that the when you are purchasing something from a supplier and when you are making payment to them, that time the supplier says कि चलो you have made a very good purchase, so I am giving you 20% discount on your payment. So that means you give 80% of the purchase value of your payment. Now, in this scenario, what has happened is that the supplier has already paid the tax on full 100%. The recipient has already taken the credit of that full 100%. But now, while making the payment, they are making 80% payment. Now, as you are aware, there is a section in GST wherein it says that if you are not making full payment to the supplier, then ITC to that extent has to be reversed. So now they have clarified that if it is 80%, 20% discount is given by way of a financial credit note. So they have to issue a credit note, which is known as a commercial credit note or financial credit note, which do not have the impact of the GST, and buyer can avail the full ITC. So this they have clarified. So for example, manufacturer invoices dealer at the rate of 1 lakh, and later he issues a 10,000 financial credit note. Dealer pays only 90,000 to the supplier, but he gets the full ITC of 18,000. Next is the post sale discount given by manufacturer to dealers. So, in as you all must be aware that many manufacturers give lot of post sale discounts. That if you are reaching certain turnover, then certain discounts are available to you. If you are say buying in bulk, then certain quantity, then certain discounts are available to you. So in this scenario, what happens that this post sale discount is nothing but a price reduction, and it is not an inducement for a further supply. Okay, you are giving discount because that person has achieved certain level of turnover, or that person has purchased certain level of turnover of goods, and because of this, and also there is a specific agreement that during the year, if you reach this target, then you are going to get the discount. So this is not an inducement but further supply, but it's a price reduction of the goods which we are already sold to the buyer, to the customer, and this a retailer, and this retailer has further sold it to the consumer. So in such a scenario, what happens that many a times the revenue department used to add this discount and say that this is a consideration and you need to pay GST on the same. But technically, it's a discount. You need to issue a credit note and you need to reduce your tax liability, and the other person needs to reduce the ITC. So if a car manufacturer asks their dealer to sell at a lower price to customer X and then reimburses the difference. Now, many times the manufacturer used to give direct discounts to the customers. So, for example, the Maruti will say that whosoever purchases Maruti car is going to get a 25% discount. For example, electric vehicle, they had said that electric vehicle compulsory, the government had issued that if everybody has been to be given 5% discount on the price rate. So, in such a scenario, the discount is passed on directly from the manufacturer to the customer. So, in this scenario, what happens? The manufacturer will sell to the distributor will sell to the customer. Okay, so distributor will sell to the customer at a reduced price, whereas the distributor has purchased from the manufacturer, it's 100 rupees. He will sell at 80 rupees because the manufacturer has told the distributor that you have to sell the car at 80 rupees. This 20 rupees will be the post sale discount, and it is not a part of a consideration. So on this 20 rupees, no GST is payable. Or at the most, if it's a credit note is issued with GST, then tax liability is reduced and ITC is reversed. Then if there is any discount which is related to promotional activities. So in this scenario, what happens? This is a promotional activities is always for a further inducement of supply. So whenever there is a further inducement of supply, it means that some benefit you are getting or giving. So in this scenario, these are not discounts, but these are in the form of consideration. So for example, there is a one mobile dealer. Now, Samsung has told this mobile dealer that you held a mobile distributor. So, Samsung as a manufacturer has told the mobile distributors to held a conference and call other distributors or call retailers, and then make them aware of the various schemes available as a benefit for them to increase the sales. In that case, what happens is that they will give certain discounts to the distributors. So here the manufacturer will give discount to the distributors for providing promotional activities, or they might give certain, instead of giving in cash or payment, what they will do is that suppose A purchases as a distributor from the Samsung goods worth rupees 1 lakh. Okay, so now A has to make the payment of 1 lakh, but A will not make the payment of 1 lakh because 20,000 rupees he has spent on the promotional activities. So what he will do, he will give only 80,000. In this scenario, what happens is that on that 20,000, A has to pay the GST because A is the recipient who is A is the person who is providing promotional activity services to Samsung. So in that scenario, A has to pay 18% GST on that 20,000 rupees. So this various type of discounts are there where various different types of treatments are to be given. So this clarification brings a lot of clarity in the business because there was lot of issues coming up. The revenue department was levying GST on each and every discount and each and every uh, benefit which the manufacturer was supposed to pass on to the customers. Now, there is one major change which is the section is not yet changed, but very soon the same will be changed. In this scenario, the intermediary services definition has been changed. Now, till today, for intermediary services, especially in the case uh, of transactions with overseas people, so the change is only in that section. So, in section 13.8 earlier, the intermediary services, the place of supply was the location of the supplier of services. Okay, so in such a scenario, what used to happen that all the BPOs of the foreign companies who are based here, who are providing services to that company, and who are a middleman between the customers and that company. Since that scenario, what used to happen that whenever that BPOs used to provide services to the customers as an intermediary for the original manufacturer who is not in India, then they were supposed to pay GST on the fees received by them in foreign exchange from the foreign party because of their services to the customers on behalf of the foreign party. So now what they have done is that they have said it will be the location of the recipient only, which is there for other place of supply for other services, and thus huge benefit will come because then this BPOs and all, it will automatically get converted into export of services. Instead of paying tax, they will get the benefit of LUT or the refund. So this is a very major change in the place of supply for intermediary services in this in section 13, wherein you have to deal with a customer, or you can say supplier, not in India. So this I've already said, the location of recipient will be the place of supply. Hence, this supply will start qualifying as the export of services. And what is the major impact, which I said was that BPO, call centers, commission agents, marketing supporting providers, they will now not suffer GST in India. But at the same time, this is going to hit people who are importing the services of commission agents on their purchases. Now, there are many people who are purchasing products by uh, having a commission agent, or you can say who are selling the goods, exporting the goods by having a commission agent outside India. But in that scenario, the exporter as a recipient will have to pay on RCM if he is using the services of commission agent outside India. So many times what happens to promote your exports outside India, you keep a commission agent. For example, an Indian exporter keeps a commission agent in Sri Lanka. Now that Sri Lankan person procures order from the local Sri Lankans, and they give this order to the exporter. Exporter in turn pays commission to that Sri Lankan. Now in today's till date, because of the definition of the intermediary services, location of the supplier of the commission agent was at Sri Lanka. So in that scenario, the it was going out of the purview of the Indian taxation. But now, since it has been changed to recipient of services, the exporter place of supply will be India, and then the exporter will have to pay the GST on the services imported from that particular person. So it automatically gets converted into import of services, and RCM needs to be paid. So so there are two things. The BPOs and call centers and commission agents in India got a benefit when they are going to deal with the foreign clients. At the same time, such commission agents outside India are not getting the benefit when they are going to deal with the Indian exporters. Now, works contract. Now, in works contract, majority of the contracts when you were dealing with government authorities or railways or metros, or the taxation was at 12%. Now it has been shifted to 18%. So they have given a standard rate for all works contract services. Mostly everything has been shifted to 18% except few which is there at 5%. They have also clarified that the definition of works contract applies only to immovable property. Now, this they have recommended in the council recommendation. The circular has not been issued. We are awaiting the circular wherein they have specifically said that works contract means when it is related only to the immovable property. So any other contract where you have mixture of goods and services, it falls into the definition of composite supply and it does not fall into the definition of works contract. So many service contracts not tied to immovable property are not works contract. They are either plant and machinery or they may be composite supplies. Now, public infrastructure works, which is undertaken by the central and state government departments, local authorities, statutory bodies, they have been shifted to the 5% rate. And the place of supply for the works contract will be location of the immovable property. And moreover, because of that post sale discounts, the rebates which are applicable to the works contract pricing will now not have that double taxation issues. So the relief for contractors is that when they are executing government projects, they are having a concessional rate of 5%. Then when there is a clarity of what is not a works contract, so there is no misclassification. Moreover, discount clarity has come, place of supply clarity has come. So a lot of good impact on the contractors which are carrying on, especially the government projects. Now, a major relief to the consumers by giving exemption on the insurance service. Now, individual insurance has been exempted. Individual medical claim, individual life insurance, family floaters, which are in. So all this have been given the exemption, but here there is an issue wherein the insurance companies have to pay RCM of 18% on the commissions which they give to the agents. Since such scenario, what happens is that since the outward supply got exempted, they will not be able to claim the ITC of this commission agent. So the insurance companies either will have to bear the cost or the commission agents will have to bear the cost because the insurance companies will reduce their commission to that extent because the government has very clearly said that the premium will not be increased. So the way the cost can be recovered by the insurance companies either by way of they themselves bearing the cost or passing on to the commission agent. So here there is a major hit to the, you can say, one way the commission agents who are small agents, generally this individual commission agents are quite small, so they are going to bear the brunt of the exemption. Now, offshore contracts. Offshore contracts are those contracts where we have to perform support services on the oil rigs, the platforms built for the oil rigs. Now, here there are two things. The oil rigs, they are movable, while the platforms, they are not movable. So, the platforms are considered to be immobile property. So, whatever support services are given to the platforms, uh, they are for offshore projects, they may fall into works contract services provided it's a composite supply of goods. But if it is only the support services, the help which is provided at the platform in the repairing and maintenance of the rigs or the platform or the wells, oil wells, there the earlier the rate was 12%, which has now been shifted to 18%. So there are two things here. First of all, there are services for extraction of oil, which is there in the rigs. Rigs are vessels. They are movable property. They are not immobile property. So the contract with them is not a works contract. Why platforms? Platforms are immovable property. They are there. They cannot be shifted, and they are embedded in the seabed. And this any services given on this platforms is categorized into works contract services. So earlier this were at 12%, which has now increased to 18%. And whatever services you perform in the rigs, there is an IGST benefit, and which is at 5% only, which is there in the IGST. Mind it well, since all these platforms and rigs are in the high seas, only IGST is levied and not CGST and SGST. Now, major thing is that because of the rate changes, what will happen to the goods which were already in transit between 21st and 22nd, the e-way bills which have already been raised. So, in that scenario, what are going to be the effect on that? So, the government is saying that whatever e-way bills you have issued or raised, for example, on 21st or 20th, for which the movement of goods is still pursuing on 22nd, then cancellation is not required. The validity of the existing bill will remain as it is, it will not expire. So, for example, if the validity of any e-way bill is 72 hours, it will still remain the 72 hours even if 22nd comes, September comes in between the 72 hours. And at the same time, GST will be determined by the time of supply and not by e-way bill raised. Now, suppose e-way bill is raised for delivery challan and this invoice is raised later on after 22nd, then accordingly, as per section 14, whatever is applicable, old GST rate or new GST rate, that will be applicable on that, on when the invoice will be raised and not when the e-way bill is raised. Suppose e-way bill is raised earlier on 20th, but invoice is raised on 23rd. Payment is also going to be received on after 22nd. Then the new rate will apply on that particular product. So because why I'm saying this is because lot many of people have, since the notifications had not come till 17th 18th of September, the goods needs to be delivered, so people had delivered the goods on delivery challan by raising e-way bills. Movement of the goods was done on delivery challan and not on invoicing for the goods which have the benefit of reduction of the GST rates, and then invoices were issued post 22nd September. Now, what are the implications of whatever supply is made? This is section 14. That suppose supply is made after 22nd September, value of contract is 5 lakhs, amount you received in advance is 5 lakhs in August itself. Then, in such a scenario, because the whole payment was received prior to 22nd, and you have to pay GST on the advance as far as services are concerned. So GST was already paid in August at 18%, but date of invoice is 24/9. So here, because the supply is made after 22/9, when you are raising the invoice, it will be new GST rate. When you have paid data on the advance, it was old GST rate. But when you'll be raising the invoice, it will be new GST rate. So in such a scenario, you get the benefit of refund of 65,000 rupees, because advance you have to adjust when you are going to raise the invoice. So when you adjust the advance which is being paid, you are going to adjust the old GST rate also, but at the same time, the tax which you are going to pay is at 5%, while adjustment it is 18%. So you will get a reduction in your tax liability. Now, second, again, supply is made after 22nd. In this scenario, you are, instead of receiving full 5 lakhs, you are receiving only 2 lakhs. Again, all GST is paid when you are receiving the advance, and the same thing when you are adjusting the advance receipt, whatever tax liability, it might come into negative. Now, suppose if the supply is made before 2022, Payment is received in advance before the supply. So in August, in that scenario, that old rate will only apply. Even if you issue invoice after 22nd, still in invoice also you have to apply the old rate. Same is the case in the scenario when you're going to receive the part payment, because the supply is made before 22nd and the payment is also received before 22nd, the old rate will apply. Now, what are the effect on the ITC? So, ITC on inward supplies before rate change. Now, if there is only a rate change, that is from 12%, it has come to down to 5%, then whatever ITC you have claimed at the rate of 12% is still there in your electronic credit ledger. It is available to you throughout your registration process for utilizing in future outward supply. But you will not get the inverted rate duty refund here when the rate has been reduced. It is only that you are getting the ITC which you can utilize against your outward liability. But if your product has become exempt from 5% or from 12%, the product is completely falling into the exempt category, then the stock which you are selling at the exempt category, ITC of that stock needs to be reversed, because when you are selling the goods at exempt category, input tax credit is not available, so you have to reverse the ITC. So this is the two effect which you are going to have on the input tax credit. If the rate is just reduced, then ITC is available. But if the rate has converted to nil, then ITC needs to be reversed. What about the supplies which fell into supply taxable at 5% without ITC? In this scenario also, ITC has to be reversed, because there is you can say that wellness and beauty, they from 18% it shifted to 5% without ITC. So in that scenario, whatever services they will provide henceforth, or whatever input they have taken on the products which they are going to use after 22nd September, ITC of all those products have to be reversed. Refund, I have already said that just because there is reduction of rate, refund is not available. Refund is available only in the case of inverted rate duty structure. So this is what the full analysis of GST 2.0. And there are many other changes in filing 3B also. So you can say that for 3B filing, the new changes which are effective from October 25, the first will be that the outward liability is going to be fixed. That I have not incorporated in my PPT, but since we have time, I will just mention that the outward liability is going to get fixed. It is not going to be changed. Whatever change you have to make in your outward liability is only through GSTR 1 or GSTR 1A. Moreover, GSTR 1A, you can change only for the current period and not for the previous period. So if there are any changes, for example, if you were filing October GSTR 1, 1A will amend or add anything only related to the October. If there are any changes related to July or say June, then it has to go through GSTR 1 only. So you have to make the changes in 1 or 1A, then the same liability will get auto-populated in 3B and compulsory you have to pay that. So please mind it well while filing 1 and 1A, and while incorporating the figures, you have to be very, very careful, because the outward liability will not be eligible from October 25, which you're going to file in November 20. That is one major change. Second change they are saying is that now at present you are getting auto generated 2B. GSTR 2B is auto generated on the system. After October, what will happen is that the GSTR 2B will not be auto generated. It will be generated on the basis of the actions you provide in the IMS system. In the invoice management system, you have to provide actions to all the invoices which are present there, either keep it pending or reject it or accept it. You have to recompute the 2B from there itself, and then 2B will be computed. Third major change is coming in has come into the act. Finance Act has been uh, made effective from 1st October 25. In that, first major changes in section 34, wherein what happens at the credit note reduction, any supplier will not get the credit note reduction unless and until the ITC on the said transaction is reversed. Now, for example, you are filing GSTR 1 of October. In the month of October, you are having 100 rupees credit note. So, when you will be filing one, first thing what you will be doing is keeping the sale, and then you will be writing the credit note in the credit note section. This credit note will get auto populated in the IMS system of the supplier. The supplier has to accept that credit note in the IMS system, and by chance, if the supplier keeps that credit note pending, or if he rejects that credit note, then whatever reduction of credit note you have had in October, you will have to pay back in the month of November. So please take care that while issuing the credit note, see to it that you are having the debit note of the supplier, which is very important, which is a proof that the supplier will reduce the ITC. This major change is there in section 34. When the taxability of voucher is omitted, there is a retrospective amendment of high seas goods stored in SEZ, goods stores in EEZ, goods stored in free zone. All this are falling into Schedule 3, which is a retrospective amendment from 1st July 17. Then other changes in the input service distributor definition, where it has now included RCM also. In the RCM credit also can be distributed as an input service distributor. So that's it. Those are the major changes in GST 2.0. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Any questions? I am open to it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights on this current topic, that is GST 2.0. Your lucid explanation of the new reforms, their implications for businesses and compliance measures and the opportunities they created has truly deepened our understanding. The way you highlighted both the challenges and the practical benefit of GST 2.0 has given us a valuable perspective that will certainly help us in our professional and academic pursuit. So thank you so much, ma'am. Now we will take questions. If anyone asks questions, we can take it now. So please put your questions in a chat box. Ma'am, one question is from a member that what will happen to the large amount of sales currently standing in the books of a luxury car dealership?
Says yes. So that is a very important question. At present, there is no reply to that, because unfortunately, in the service tax era, what had happened was that the credit of the cess was not allowed to the supplier. So we hope for some very good clarification over there, that the cess they will allow to utilize against the outward liability present, or they might give the refund of the cess.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Another question is, ma'am, what is the current GST rate for transportation services in case of FCM?
Or is there any change the provision regarding with RCM or FCM?
Yes, so for FCM, there is a change. Earlier, it was for a GTA. If you are following the forward charge mechanism, you had two options. Either you pay 5% and do not claim any ITC, or you pay 12% and claim the ITC. This 12% has been raised to 18% with
Okay.
ITC.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I think there is no other question. So thank you. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am.
Before leaving, I would just like to say, first of all, to never stop learning because life never stops teaching us. And picture abhi baki hai mere dost. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I hand over the sessions to the CA, Ashtika Kariya, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is CA Kshitija, and it is my immense pleasure to introduce our next speaker. And she's CA Twinkle Dubey. She's not only an chartered accountant, but she is an company secretary and a social auditor as well. Currently, she is practicing with a leading CA firm as a social impact assessor. And recently, she has been a member of the Institute of Social Auditors of India, that is ISAI, and IICA, that is Certified Independent Directors. She ensures that the non-government organizations and the non-profit making organizations comply with the social accounting standards. But the today's topic that she is going to cover is, I think, completely different than what she is working in her profession. And I would request her to start her today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, CA Kshitija, for such an introduction. I feel very honored. It was generous of you to have introduced me so well. So, good evening, all the ambitious ladies out there who are listening to me, as well as men, if any. Before I start the session, I would also like to thank CA Deepika ji. It was a very insightful session because it was much needed, especially when the GST amendments have taken place. It's really crucial for us to know what changes have actually taken place for us who are not in touch with the GST, who are into social audit or other fields. So this was an insightful session. Thank you so much, Deepika ji. Yeah. So now it's a cozy Wednesday evening, and we have just dodged all our deadlines, and now we are slowly on a relaxed mode. So I'll ensure I make this session very engaging. I make this session very relaxing so that you don't doze off to sleep. Okay, so Kshitija ma'am has already introduced me, but I would like to introduce myself in my style. So I am CA Twinkle Dubey. I'm simple yet appealing, lazy yet zealous, carefree yet careful, calm yet dynamic, passionate and compassionate. So there's a great philosopher who has once told, if you are able to market yourself, only then you'll be able to market your product. And that is the reason I've come up with such an introduction of myself, so that so that my introduction is catchy, so that I come up as a different person, and you will be able to judge me, my personality, along with my profession. So the first step towards combating stage fear is to introduce yourself in such a way, in such a catchy manner, that all the eyes are on you. So before I begin with, I would also like to thank Women's Wing for coming up with such an initiative, because it is much needed, especially in these times where we are focusing more on technical aspects, and sometimes we tend to ignore the non-technical aspects. So everyone out there who's listening to me from the comforts of their home or office or anywhere in between, this session is for you. You have to invest yourself in this session and learn something at least from here. And I'll make sure that you have something to learn, and yes, something to grow after the session ends. All right. So today we are going to deal with one of the biggest phobias, and that phobia is stage fear. Now, what the stage fear is called, I'll tell you in a short while. But before that, let me start with the story. This is a very engaging story, and at the end of my story, I want you to guess who this personality is. So imagine there is a puzzle, and in that puzzle, there are 4 pieces. First piece is brilliance or beauty. Second piece is kindness. Third piece is, say, social interactions. And there's a fourth piece which is missing. So we have brilliance, we have wealth, we have a social life, but there's one piece in the puzzle that is missing. And yes, this is a life story of one of the most dynamic women we've known. In fact, many of us are inspired by who she is. Let's hear it out. But before that, let me share my screen with you. Is my screen visible?
No, ma'am.
Just a second. Yeah, I just. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it is in.
Yes. So here, speak up, shine bright. That's my topic. And today, I'm going to start with this puzzle. This puzzle has 4 pieces, which is beauty, wealth, kindness, and yes. Now there is a question mark. That is, there's one thing that is missing in this lady. Now, this woman was born and brought up in a family which had a very shady background, as in, it was not a very affluent family. The parents were divorced, and she had a spoiled childhood, and because of which she could not complete her education, and soon she became a nursery grade teacher. Once she finished her schooling, that is when she realized that there is something that is missing in her, and soon she started to work on that thing. And she had also taken a help of a voice coach who could guide her all the way. Later on, she became one of the best humanitarian person and one of the most graceful women we would ever see. Yes, I'm talking about the lady from a royal British family. I'm sure you would have guessed after the end of this clue. Yes, she is Princess Diana. Princess Diana was from the royal British family, but before, she had a childhood which was not so good. That was the main reason why she was suffering from lack of confidence and anxiety. In fact, she believed she had a voice of submission. What does this mean? Voice of submission. Voice of submission means she was not able to place a point in an effective manner. She was not able to influence anyone. She was not able to convince anyone. And that is when she took help of her coach, Stuart Pearce, who helped her convert this voice of submission into voice of triumph. This story was story of Princess Diana, and now we know her for the grace, for being forthright, for being candid, and for being one of the most inspiring women in the history. Now, the topic of discussion here is the word glossophobia. Is anyone aware of what glossophobia is? Let me help you out. So, glossophobia is one of the most endangering social phobia that the world is witnessing. In fact, every 4 out of 10 persons are suffering from this glossophobia, and at least more than 2 of this are women. Just imagine, we women are known for being very talkative in nature, but stage is our biggest fear. Talking on stage is our biggest fear. So Just like how Princess Diana was able to overcome her fear with the help of a coach, of a life coach, we are in this generation of AI where we can use so many AI tools. And yes, we have got platforms like WMEC where we get opportunities as the women to speak, as a women to listen, as a women to learn, and as a women to grow. So why are we not taking this opportunity as a base and just fighting out this fear of stage or the fear of being able to speak in front of lots of people? So yes, in this session, we are going to study about, or we are going to learn about different kinds of fears that we have but we do not realize, and certain steps that can be helpful for you to overcome it. When I talk about glossophobia, I get reminded of a situation that had happened with me when I was a child. I was a student basically, so there was an extempore competition that was happening, and we had to talk about a topic for about 5 minutes, and we were given chits, and we had to pick up the chit and speak about the topic. I was very confident because I was always on the stage right from the childhood. Like we Indian parents, like our Indian parents, they often used to tell, "Okay, beta, ये uncle के सामने गा के दिखा दो, ये auntie के सामने कुछ बोल के दिखा दो, ये uncle को poem सुना दो." So we always have that habit of, talking in front of crowd. So that is how I got the habit of talking on the stage. But there was one incident that happened, and it shook my confidence. That on that day when there was an extempore competition, I was very confident because I knew I could speak on any topic. I went up and picked up the chit, and that chit has had one of the most famous celebrities name, and that was Salman Khan. Sorry to say, but I am not the biggest fan of Salman Khan, and to be able to talk about someone whom I don't know much, whom I don't like much, even in fact, don't even know what is his birthday. So for me to talk about him was my greatest fear. In fact, that was a time I realized that you should be knowing about people you love and also about people you don't love. So that was a time when I realized that I had some kind of glossophobia, and that some kind of glossophobia was fear of silence. The fear in me was whether I'll be able to talk for 5 minutes. What if I stop in between? Will the people laugh at me? These were a few questions that were running in my mind. That day I realized that I have to work on this fear. I have to know how the flow of my information should take place. I should have at least jotted down few points before I started to speak. Although I could speak for about 3.5 minutes, but I could never cross 5 minutes because at that point of time, Salman Khan was notorious for various other reasons. But it's very important in life that certain setbacks should come and you should take away certain things which are useful from them. Now coming to the CAs, that is, we are dealing with women CAs today, and what are the different personalities, what are the different stages they have to come across, and what are the different colors or pictures that they show. So whenever we as a CA are asked to speak in front of people, we often end up using jargons. I hope you know what are jargons. Jargons are basically the technical commercial terms that we use in commerce. So we are so much into ourselves that we start using jargons. We start saying IFRS, GAP, or GST without even thinking whether the audience will be able to understand what IFRS means, what GAP means, or what GST means. So that is where we should realize that just speaking is not enough. Your speech or your presentation should be able to reach the people as well as create impact on them. They must be able to understand what we are trying to convey. Second most favorite thing of all the CAs, emails. We prefer emails over conversation. You have any query? Email us. There is any problem? We'll reply on email. So emails are the best solutions for us. We try to avoid conversations. So here there is a fear of maybe not being able to present in the best possible manner. But this fear is deep inside us. The preference of emails over conversations, I think this is there in almost many of us. Third thing, we are all master of numbers. We can play with the numbers on our fingertips. But when it comes to inform someone or to report the audit findings, we present it in such a way or in such a low volume that we are not able to create impact. That is where we fall. We being the master of numbers, we cannot create a dramatic effect of the numbers with our voice, with our volumes. That is where we are lacking. That is the place where we need to grow. And last category of the CAs are the Zen masters. For the Zen masters, balance sheet tally नहीं हुआ है, ठीक है, it's okay, हो जाएगा. They'll sip their green tea, read their newspapers, and will be very relaxed. And in fact, these are the kind of chartered accountants who actually grow up to become very good public speaker. Why? Because they have no fear in mind. They confide in themselves, they have confidence in themselves that they will be able to present in the best possible manners. So, what we need to become? We need to become the Zen masters, very cool, calm, and composed. Now, let's deal with what fears are we actually facing while we are speaking. So, first fear is the fear of judgment. We are always worried, लोग क्या कहेंगे? देश का सबसे बड़ा रोग, क्या कहेंगे लोग? And in that, we are not able to speak. Are we looking good enough? Oh, मेरी बिंदी ठीक तो है ना? Oh, my nails are cut or not? Oh, I'm properly dressed or not? Am I pronouncing that word properly? What will she feel if I'm not pronouncing that word properly? That is the main place. That is the main thing that we fear when we are on stage. What are people thinking about? In fact, people are always there to hear us. They are not there to judge us. But this is everything that is there in our minds. Second fear, obviously, is the imposter syndrome. What is an imposter syndrome? It's basically feeling that, oh, I'm not the best amongst everyone. See that person is CA, CS, CMA, and I'm just a chartered accountant. Will I be able to speak in front of him? Oh my god, that person is an MBA. Will I be that confident like the person sitting there? So that is an imposter syndrome where we feel we are not good enough as compared to others in the room. Third is perfectionist syndrome. No, I want proper report, only then I will be reading. I need a proper notes, then only I'll be able to speak. I will not speak anything from my mind. That is a perfectionist syndrome. If I don't have anything written on the paper, I will not be able to speak. Fourth is self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is my voice okay? Oh, I have a bad throat. Oh, I'm not able to speak today. I had a cough and cold last night. So these are certain things which are actually right in our brains. It's not something that others are catching, but it's just because it's in our brain, it begins to happen with us. Then we have the famous thing, negative self-talk. I think most of us, most of the women, in fact, they have the habit of thinking about क्या होगा अगर मैं रुक गई तो will people laugh at me? What will happen if I stumble while I'm climbing the stage? Will people laugh at me? So these are certain negative things which we should not focus on because these are very rare scenarios that are going to happen. And last is fear of skipping the flow. Oh, ये topic के बाद if I don't talk about this topic, there'll be a blunder. People will catch me. People will tell me I'm giving them wrong information. So we do not need to worry about what people are thinking. We need to ensure that we give the best of the thing. We provide the best of the information, whether or not in the order that we have written, but at the right time and right place. This should be our agenda. In fact, I must say, fears are not weaknesses. In fact, fears are something that helps us to understand what our shortcomings are. It helps us to understand where we are lacking. It's just because we are caring about what we are sharing that we feel weak. And that is a sign of strength. To be able to speak something that is meaningful, that can be understood by everyone, is not fear. In fact, it's one of the most important strengths. Now we have dealt with all the different kinds of fears. It's time we also understand what are the different solutions to these fears. So first thing is market yourself with the best introduction. Just like how I introduced myself in a very catchy manner. It may not always be suitable in a formal conversations, but in non-technical topics like today, this could be the best way to catch the attention of the audience. Everyone in fact, should come up with a suitable introduction for themselves, because if you're able to market yourself, you're definitely able to market your product. Second thing is self-talk. Pick up one suitable time of the day and start self-talking. Start asking question to yourself. What if someone tells me to talk about a particular topic, say GST? How will I say? What will I say? Start with the flow. For example, when I was given the option, when I was given Salman Khan as a topic, later on I started pondering that why was I not able to speak? I could have started with his career, or I could have started with his childhood, which was his first film. These were the basic things that I already knew. But then, what was a fear that was just not helping me out to cross that 5 minute deadline? So that fear was, what if I become silent? So we should start talking to ourselves. We should start thinking how the flow should be right in our minds. Keep our minds ready, and then we must begin talking. Next is practice impromptu speaking, just like I said. Pick up any topic whenever you are free. Just pick up any topic and think about the topic and try to speak about it for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and later on start expanding your times. And that is when your knowledge base will also improve, and that is when you will also realize what things you know and how well you can present. Next thing is worst case scenario. Just keep your minds ready. ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या हो जाएगा? What if I forget? If I forget, I will pause for a minute, look into my paper, and say it again. There is nothing else. People are not going to laugh. And even if people laugh, what is wrong in it? We need to understand that not everything matters, or not everyone's reaction matters to us. What is important is how we take the situation. Another important thing, arrive early. When you arrive early, you're definitely in a position, you are definitely having an upper hand because you have time in your hand. And secondly, you will be confident enough. Why? Because you have saved on time, you have scrolled the environment, you have scanned what kind of people, what kind of gathering it is, and you will be ready to present yourself better. And the last and one of the most important takeaway from the session is AI apps. That is Notebook LM, and there is one app. I think I've missed that. That is Udly. Okay, so I'll just mention it. I'll just share it across with you. Udly is one of the apps wherein you can create scenario, or you can use role play as a basis. And for example, if you want to market a product, or you want to sell a product, if that person is a salesperson, so that person can just go and type on Udly that role play, and then choose sales as the criteria, and you can start with your presentation. The Udly will judge your presentation, will tell where you're going wrong, what things that you need to work on, and that way you will be able to analyze yourself. It will rate you and determine what things can be added to make your presentation more effective or to be more catchy. And then there is one app called as Notebook LM, where there's a podcast like thing that you can arrange, wherein you put in questions and the other person will answer, and then in that scenario you will understand how you have to speak as a other party, because you will be asking questions and the other person will be answering. So then you will be able to gauge how you should perform. So Notebook LM and Udly are two important tools which can help you cope up with this fear of stage, because they will rate you, they will give you ideas on how the flow of information should take place, and they will also help you in being confident, plus give you some catchy words or phrases that is lacking in your conversations. Next, we come to one of the most important things that we need to do. Before we start any conversation or before we start any presentation, what we have to do is we have to be positive, and we have to tell our brains that yes, we can do it. I am prepared, I am enough, and I am confident. These three things before you start conversation can go a long way in improving your performance. Trust me, this has happened with me, and whenever I say these words, my brain is almost always ready, and there is rarely any chance when I forget, when I go blank, or when I just keep quiet. So these affirmations before any presentation becomes very important, because you don't buy engagements, you build it. We need to be very sure and very confident. We have to be prepared in the brains as well as on the papers about what we are going to speak. Every great speaker was once a beginner. Every great speaker has always made that mistake. So let's not get nervous, or let's not fight nervousness. In fact, we don't need to fight nervousness. Nervousness is not weakness. We must take it as a kind of excitement. We need not fight nervousness. We must accept it as a part of excitement, a reaction towards excitement, and face it, deal with it. The audience is not waiting to judge you. They just want to hear you out. They just want to listen to what you are saying. They just want to learn from you. So don't think what others will think. Just give your best. Women, we women who are known to be talkative, we can use it as a shield to become a fire blazer speaker. This talkativeness is going to be very helpful for us, because it will help us to be great speakers. So next time, whenever you go on the stage, just remember, take one breath in, out, and just you're good to go. Thank you. So yes, this was my session, and I hope y'all liked it. Um, just a second. So I hope y'all like the session, and since this is just a one-way session where I cannot interact with you, where I cannot get your feedbacks, so it becomes a bit confusing for me as well. Like, how should I proceed with? Because I want people to reply to whatever I'm saying. So yes, these were the few tips I would like to share before I end the session. Do make use of AI app like Udly, because it's going to be helpful. If you want, I can spell it out. It is YOODLI, Udly, and there is Notebook LM, which can help you in your presentation, which can rate you and help you be confident as well. And plus, it could be helpful before. In order to ensure that you present well, or you're able to market your products well, and also come up with a great introduction about yourself, so that it becomes catchy for the viewers as well. Lastly, I would again thank the Women and Young Members Excellence Committee for coming up with this initiative, for letting me speak, for letting me share whatever knowledge that I had about public speaking with everyone. And if at all I'm able to solve even a bit of your stage fear, I'll be very happy about it. Thank you. Are there any questions or something from anyone's end? Y'all can put it down in the chat section, and I'll be happy to help.
Yeah. Hello, participants. So if you have any questions, would like to take few questions. Are there any questions that we have in the chat box? We'll quickly check it out. Yeah, team, can you just check out if there are any questions in the chat box? Okay. I think there are no questions, but let me thank CA Twinkle Dubey. I absolutely would say that, this was really completely different than what you are working in your profession. I don't know how you got into this field. It can be a different session altogether to know how you develop yourself being a public speaker. And it's not easy. I know it's not easy because people come from different backgrounds and they have different family backgrounds. They get education into the different cities, maybe metro cities, non-metro cities. So it will not be easy. And even after becoming a chartered accountant, it's not that always they will get a stage to express themselves or to share what they actually know. So majority of the time they have this all kind of fears that you have, syndromes that you have mentioned, but they are unaware of, like, they have this kind of the syndromes that they are already going through it. So I think this session would really help them out to understand and to at least categorize themselves where they are standing right now. And the apps that you have mentioned is absolutely, I was not aware about it and would definitely going to try this out, because if somebody is there who can judge me and rate me where I'm standing in speaking out and where I'm lacking, that would be an great thing. You definitely have helped us with with providing those apps. You have definitely helped every chartered accountant woman who is still facing this problem but do not have an exact solution to it. So thank you so much, CA Twinkle Dubey, for this wonderful session. I thank the institute always, like, for conducting these sessions and being consistent into, this is like 75th episode if I'm not wrong, and being consistent into giving these sessions for this chartered accountant women. Thank you so much. If you want to express anything.
So yes, like I said, this is a very important platform where women are speakers, women are listeners, women are learners, and women are growing because of platforms like this. Because
True.
most of the seminars are focusing on the technical topics, and we are not focusing on the non-technical aspects. And sometimes, as CAs, we are always occupied, and we feel that it's okay.
Yes.
that ठीक है, चल जाएगा, हो जाएगा manage. But then
Yeah.
when we see an MBA, or when we see someone who's performing well or someone who's presenting well, that is when we start questioning ourselves: are we enough? Despite of having best of knowledge, despite of being stalwarts in our field, we are having that fear whenever we see someone who is speaking better than us. And that is where these non-technical sessions become very helpful, because some of the other details, like just I said, Udly or Notebook LM, such apps can be very helpful in the long run for us to fight this or combat the stage fear. And
True.
yes, so we
Very
need more
true.
platforms like this. We need more non-technical sessions like
Sessions like
this.
this. Very true. Yes. Thanks a lot. I hope the committee members are, hearing this, and they organize more of such kind of sessions. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think we are good to end the sessions. Yes. Okay. I think we are good to go. Thank you so much, everyone.
Secretary, please end the session, please.